You actually had lunch with Senator Steve Daines out of Montana this week, or I should say yesterday, that pertained to safe banking. And Senator Daines basically outlined to you that he has the 10 necessary Republican votes to get safe banking to pass, and that we could see some sort of movement develop later this summer. Hey everyone, welcome to our latest TDR Cannabis Exclusive, and we've got news that's developing pertaining to safe banking. What is it? I think you're going to might actually like to hear this, so let's find out what it is. Let's bring in the president and co-manager of Pelorus Capital Group, Rob Sechrist, back to the podcast. Good to see you.
Good to see you guys as usual.
Good. Anthony Verrill, TDR, good to see you. Get all
good
set
to see
for
you as
Denver
well. How's
this
it going?
week?
Yeah, it's nice. Get out of this heat.
I don't think we're going into a
right
cooler.
now.
It's supposed to be 90 degrees in Denver all week. So there we go.
Yeah.
But listen, wanted to have you back on again, Rob, because interesting conversation that we had with you today. And I think our viewers would like this. You actually had lunch with Senator Steve Daines out of Montana this week, or I should say yesterday, that pertained to safe banking. And Senator Daines basically outlined to you that he has the 10 necessary Republican votes to get safe banking to pass, and that we could see some sort of movement develop later this summer, more specifically right after summer break into the month of August, I should say. So that obviously grabs our attention. Will probably grab a lot of public equity cannabis investors' attention. So first question, walk us through what that lunch entailed and some of the conversations that you had as to what I just outlined.
Yeah, so first of all, actually, I just came from the lunch, and I wanted to get this news to you as soon as possible. So
Okay.
This is as fresh as it can be. So the meeting with him was more broad than just cannabis, but my primary focus was to have the opportunity to address safe banking, since he's a co-sponsor of it. And so and I always want to preference that I think that nobody should be buying stocks on a hope and a change. And you got to remember that Congress, both the House and the Senate, and then the President ratification to sign up to make that bill passed is an enormous process. But what we have not known for quite some time, or I haven't heard it since I spoke with Cory Gardner back when he was in charge of the Senate, or when he was a senator of Colorado and the co-sponsor of the Safe Banking Act back then, or States Act it was back then, that he had the votes at that time. He had 16 at that time. Today, the news that I could share with you is that Senator Daines confirmed to me that he does have the 10 votes necessary. And the way he worded it was with a lot of confidence, as if he's got more than necessary. So that's all he can bring on his side. And the Democrats usually vote as a monolithic block. And so hopefully they'll bring all of their 50 votes on their side. And, I think that's newsworthy. Doesn't mean that this will get passed this year, or that it'll have all the elements that we want. It doesn't, but it does continue to say, and as I've been saying, this is the closest I've ever seen things coming together. But that's not saying much, because before, when everybody else thought it was there, I didn't think it was there. I didn't think it had that much of a shot, except for the lame duck session. I thought that there's a chance there. But it looks like things are headed the right direction. And it looks like we will have that answer in this year of where this bill will make it to the floor for a vote. And I feel that Biden is transactional on this particular vote, and that he would sign off on this. He's got to take every win where he could possibly get it. And I think that this is a win for the Democrats to get this across the table. It's just great to see the Republicans moving this on their side as well. And it's interesting that, Rohrabacher was a Republican, and McConnell with the hemp, the Farm Act, are all Republicans. That got the legislation that actually got done was all Republicans. And it always seems like the Democrats are the ones that have held the power. So it's interesting to be at both parties. I met a couple of months ago with Cory Booker.
Yep.
And he was very supportive and wanting to move everything forward as well. So everybody feels like there's no hesitation, but I'm also talking to the people that have already been identified as pro. I'm sure that, so I will take a step back. Today is Tuesday. On Friday, I was able to attend another event with Speaker McCarthy. Unfortunately, I was not able to get any direct questions to him in that particular event, but I did get to speak with four Republican Congress persons, and they were all open to cannabis legislation. And there really seems to be a point now where nobody is really strongly against it. Now, again, this is a fairly liberal and progressive state, and that even for Republicans, we're pretty open-minded. So it just feels like things are.
Rob, is that why you feel more confident this time around versus the past?
In the past, if you look at what I've said, is that nobody could identify how we were going to get the 60 votes necessary in the Senate. That's always been the choke point that you're not going to get through.
Yeah.
And there's one other element that, Chad, you and I learned together when we were at Jason Wild's house at Benzinga, is that the other place that I was concerned that we were going to have a potential choke point is that because McCarthy is from a very conservative district in Bakersfield, that he wasn't very motivated to bring this to a floor vote, and he controls the calendar. Usually, the speaker controls the calendar, but we learned at that event that the Pelosi, in order to get reelected as the speaker, gave up the unilateral control of the calendar, and that a simple majority vote could usurp that power and get something on calendar. And so now we've got a lot of the pieces that could potentially have been choke points are basically getting freed up. And so I don't see a reason why it can't go through this particular time. I don't see anything that is locking it up or anybody that is really coming against it. But again, I've only been basically interacting with the people that have been pro on it. And sometimes a good strategy is to search out the people that are against it. And maybe I should spend some time doing that, because I and my colleagues and you guys and all the people in the industry, we represent a large voice across this industry. And I'm trying to do what I can with the contacts that I have to try to, one, get information and understand what we could be doing. But also when I reach these people, I want to know what my colleagues and peers in the industry could do to support and push this through. So I'm working on that right now, and I'll come back to you once I get a response from the staff.
Well, Anthony, you were at that event at Jason Wild's place back in April at the Benzinga event, and we learned a lot too, both of us, you and I being there. What's your take? Like this is encouraging, to say the least.
I mean, I think it's great. It seems like everything's finally falling into place. And I mean, what we can at least see this time is, like Robert said, I mean, this is quantifiable. I mean, we're talking about fact patterns and numbers here. We're not talking about hype. If the votes are there, and I mean, if the votes line up and this can get passed, I think it's the biggest event that we've seen in the industry. That being said, I mean, I'm agreeing with Rob. I mean, I wouldn't buy on hype. I want to see dried ink on paper, and then I'll start to come back into the markets. I don't think it's the opportune time to dive in. We've kind of seen this before to a degree, but like Rob said, I mean, it's never looked like the stars are actually aligning. There's always been really cause to be a contrarian, and I mean, it's starting to be very hard to be a contrarian when we're talking about SAFE and the momentum that we're getting in Washington.
Rob, you said that Senator Daines said with confidence that he has the votes. You want to back that up on what, I'm not going to question you, but, maybe elaborate a little bit on what made you feel that he was very confident.
Yeah, just the way that he quickly responded with overwhelming confidence and a broad smile. There was no quantifying. There's no squinting quantifiers in that. There was no. I think I do. There was nothing like that. I've got the votes. This is the way he said it.
Okay. Well, it's good to get obviously information like this. Appreciate you obviously sharing this with us, but I think this is obviously going to generate a lot of buzz right now within the industry. Anthony, you've hinted before, you'll wait the first 20%. And like you just said, let's walk before we run, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's great though. I mean, this pairs well with we're starting to see a little bit of momentum with Becerra, with potential rescheduling, descheduling. I mean, the conversations that we need to happen are happening. It's just now a matter of what the time frame looks like, which that's probably the most opaque. That's probably the most opaque marker in the entire situation is what's the actual timing of any of this coming into effect.
Yeah.
In that, look, who knows what's going to happen in world events, but he basically said after the summer vote, he's hoping to get that there. I think that the way I would take it is that's the first opportunity he might have a chance. Remember, this is still $30 billion of a $30 trillion economy. Is the amount of press that we do get, which we all think is not enough, is still way more than any other $30 billion industry in the country. And I hate to say it that way, but it's just, you have to put things in perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it realistic to think, though, that we could get safe banking passed and the cannabis to be rescheduled at some point in this calendar year? Like, I don't want to get my hopes up, but obviously the conversations that we continue to have with people like yourself, Rob, it's encouraging to say the least that things are headed in the right direction. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I can understand how a lot of viewers of ours and investors within the space will really garner a lot of interest pertaining to the lunch that you just had.
Yeah. And if it was going the other way, if I sensed that there was some hesitation, I would be sharing that as well. But that did not seem the way it was going. But remember, this is somebody with very powerful, he's on the banking committee. He's a co-sponsor of this. He's a senator. He has a lot of firepower. He's also the head of the National Republican, finance. He's in charge of getting all the senators, picking the senators for the Republican Party to get elected. That's a massively powerful position. So he's got a lot of power, and he probably, if not consciously, subconsciously, as he's thinking about who he's looking to put into these positions, that he wants to make sure that they align with what he believes and where he's coming from.
Interesting. Well, listen, appreciate you checking in. I know you're busy, but appreciate obviously the information that you shared with us. And, we'll be updating a lot of viewers throughout the week. If we hear more information, leave a comment below. Let us know what you want to ask. If there's any information, do you believe this? Do you want to believe that the industry is going to advance? And if so, what could happen later this summer? We'd love to hear back from you. Rob, Anthony, thanks for checking in. We'll check back with you guys later this week if we get more news that develops.
Thanks, Rob.
Take care. Bye.
What's up, everyone? So what'd you think of the interview? Are there any more questions you want us to ask that you want to learn more of? Then leave a comment below and let us know what you think. As usual, share this video with your network, smash that like button, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel because we would not be here without you. Thanks for watching, everyone.